coming today, and I would like Justice J.J. Koch to come up to the podium to kick off the program.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you all for being here. I certainly must thank all of you that are in the 5th District. This win, this past election cycle, was not expected by the Democrats, and I certainly enjoyed the looks on their faces when it happened. So let's take a quick past, present, and future. Back in 2018 is when the 5th District Court of Appeals was lost by the Republicans. There was a slate of 8, and they were kind of the Democrat pioneers, if you will. Only one was a judge on that slate of 8, those Democrats. So when they rolled into that court, they came in there with a heck of a bulldozer. And it was felt acutely by the attorneys that had long worked on that court. Many had long been working for a Republican court. Were not overtly political people. They were good, law-following, somewhat hobbit-like individuals. They really liked being in a cozy little room and just writing and studying, and they were wonderful people. But they were bombarded by an overtly political group. And yes, they were there for someone Hassan while he was on that court. In the years following, other Democrats got on that court. The following election, so there are 13 members of this court, okay? You have election cycles 8, then 3, then 2. So, in this last election cycle, 8 Republicans ran, only 7 of us won. So we have the majority of this court, but we don't have that safe majority. To pull back the curtain a little bit further, we typically have 4 panels, 3 justices that listen to cases, right? So the Chief Justice steps off, 12 fill those 3. I'm the Chief Justice. I'll handle other administrative matters. I handle motions before submission. And because we have a little bit of a backlog, we voted and agreed that I would sit on what's called our E panel, so A, B, C, D, and E. And I'll sit on a panel with former Chief Justice, their own right, Republican, and David Evans. Now, we advocated for that, and I advocated heavily for that because I want to be on a panel with those individuals. They're incredibly intelligent, they're bright, they're wonderful jurists, and give us an opportunity to get a slate of cases right because there is a little bit of backlog from our Democrat court that is now with the changes. So that win here in November has changed the composition of the court and has changed the direction of the court. Your intermediate appellate courts are workhorse courts. Okay, we see potentially this year we'll see 1,500 cases. Right, that's a lot. Right, there's a lot of cases that come through. We're not in the business of making law. That's the Supreme Court, the Court of Criminal Appeals. They're going to take far fewer cases where things are wrong. So we need to have our administrative house in order. And that's my job right now. That's what I'm currently doing, making sure that we streamline our writ process. So, writs are extraordinary measures, things that are not after trial appeals, right? Things that need to be done right away for justice to be done. So that process needs to be pristine, pure, ready to go. So justice delayed is not justice denied, right? Because of some of the complications that were thrown in by the interim, where we had that Democrat spell, there were some things that don't work right and are being currently fixed. Now, moving forward, what's important for you all to know? This court has the Republican majority. It's great. Right? Conservatives are going to see those cases that pop up and need to be addressed properly. So your 3-panel may decide something, and since there is that division, basically 6 and 6, we currently have 2 panels that have a majority, 2 Democrats, 1 Republican. They may get it wrong. The parties, they then say, hey, let's take it on bond, the entirety of the court. The majority of the court, right, being Republican, could get it right in favor of a more conservative viewpoint, if it's that type of thing. I will say, and all these justices will say the same thing, a lot of the times, 80% of the things that come up are not tinged with any type of, political anything, right? It's just getting this right. It's just kind of the due course of things, correcting things because the law got off a little bit There's nothing major going on here. Rather, it's just getting the job right. But 20, maybe sometimes 10 or 15% of the cases do have something where, okay, this is a rule of law issue. This is people not following the black letter of the law, what was given to us by the legislature, and what we are supposed to follow faithfully, right? And that's when we have to put our foot down. We need the parties, of course, to come to us, to ask for it, to get to that en banc, right? So there is one step where justice may not be right, where it may not get right if someone gives up one step before asking for something to go on, right? Because we only have that 7-member majority. All right. So the future. I'm not entirely certain of this because I stopped looking at the numbers at some point in the night when it was clear that we had won. But at the point where the Court of Appeals races were won in, I'll name the counties, right? Dallas, Collin, Grayson, Hunt, Kaufman, and Rockwell, right? Those are the counties in the district. Harris was still winning in those counties. Cruz was losing as well, right, in those counties. And we had won. We lost. One of our Republicans lost on that court. And that is because Dallas County, of course, always has that excess Democrat voters. But our voters, our Republican voters, got down ballot and we won. Why does that matter for this next election cycle? We have to assume that there are more Democrat voters out there. We have to assume that the Democrats are going to know that if they get to their voters and tell them to get down ballot, they can win these next three spots that are up here in 2026. It is critical that you let people know how important this court is. And you can give them a brief summary of what it does. It is a workforce court. It goes through these cases. And if we had the current composition, as it is maintained, there still is plenty of opportunities for cases not to get right. If we get 3 new Republicans on this court, I can guarantee you we will never have a panel, right? Never one of those, the first line panel, when things first come in, where you have a majority of Democrats on. All right? It'll get right sooner, earlier. Right? All right. So, again, I cannot thank you for your help and support. You must continue to tell your friends and neighbors, the Republican justices and judges, respect the rule of law and protect your rights. Understanding that, unfortunately, usually comes the visceral moment when you're in a court, in a place where a judge either doesn't want to be there or doesn't care about your rights and wants to do something political. And I know there's plenty of you out there that have experienced that, and that's why you are advocates for a better judiciary. I see that pain in plenty of folks' eyes, and I know that we have to continue to strive to get things right. We will. God bless you and thank you.
Thank you.